Hello my chickens. In this video, I will teach you how to use UWorld and raise your SAT or your ACT scores. I'm Kat Severson, the inventor of the Severson method, a scientifically proven way to learn anything fast, including SAT and ACT, using my favorite website in the world, UWorld. UWorld is amazing, but I don't have any financial relationship with the website. I use it, my students use it. If you haven't seen the scores that my students received on the latest SAT, we're going to flash them right here. And yeah, the results speak for themselves. They use UWorld on the website, they use UWorld on their app, and I'm just going to walk you through the process. First, like for any exam, before you can study for the exam, and remember that SAT and ACT are exams that you can study for, the first thing you need to do is you need to decide what's on the test. Will this be on the test? Will this be on the test? You need to know what's on the test. And I'm just going to use SAT as an example. And SAT is very generous about telling you exactly what they're going to test you on. If you guys don't know what these mean, they're all in the video. Should you study the night before the SAT, I'm going to link this video up there so you can watch that. But the SAT spends 4 chapters from chapter 15 to chapter 19, I guess. Yeah, they spend 4 chapters talking to you in detail about what is going to be covered on the math section. So the first section is Heart of Algebra, then it's Problem Solving and Analysis, then Passport to Advanced Math, and then it's going to be additional topics in math, I guess. Additional topics, yes. See, I have this memorized. So before UWorld existed, before UWorld was a thing, I used to use this book as my anchor, as my guide, and I was so surprised when I logged in to UWorld to see that they follow the SAT's layout exactly to the T. That was so surprising to me because this is not the first question bank website that I'm checking out. You know, it's just a part of my budget. I buy all, I can't say all, 90% of the software that exists on SAT and ACT. I'm just doing marketing research. And also, I want to learn from other people. I want to learn and find out what other people are doing. Maybe I can bring that information to my students, or maybe I can teach this to you guys. We just recently made a video on tips from Erica Meltzer and Black SAT book. I'll also link this video up there. So I'm not shy about using other people's material and, you know, sharing it with you guys. So when I saw how the questions are laid out, they are laid out exactly the way SAT, the Blue Book, the College Board Blue Book, lays it out. So let me show you. So I logged into my UWorld. We're going to launch the SAT question bank, and then we're going to go to math, and you will see Heart of Algebra, Problem Solving and Data Analysis, Passport to Advanced Math, and additional topics in math. Obviously I love this about their accuracy and their attention to detail, but why should I be using some website if I can use the actual tests? Well, you have a good point there. Even though I used to encourage my students in the past to exclusively use the authentic materials, I find that UWorld does a really good job at replicating the logic. You're usually not going to see the exact same questions, but in that way, they're very similar to my other favorite man, Nelson Fu. So what Nelson does is he actually separates the math section of the SAT differently. His table of contents consists of 29 chapters, so he doesn't follow the SAT format, which, you know, that's why I prefer UWorld, but Nelson Fu also does a good job at separating them into chunks. So Nelson Fu will help you learn the material. So he has, like, for example, rates, right? He has lessons, examples, and he then shows you like an example question, and then he solves it for you. So this is where you're going to learn your information. So you need to know what's on the test, and that's you're going to learn from either the College Board Blue Book or from the ACT book. If you're not familiar with the books that are required, I made a big video on self-study resources for SAT and ACT. I'm going to link that up there so you can find this information. Then you need textbooks that will help you acquire the new knowledge. And the third most important component is a question bank. So UWorld is your ideal question bank. And it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's definitely worth the investment. I don't suggest that you share this with somebody because sometimes when there's like a membership website like 1600.io, I know that a lot of kids are just, you know, those who don't have a lot of money, they just maybe 2 or 3 of them get together and, you know, they buy the membership together. But I wouldn't recommend this for UWorld because your performance is tracked, and I really like to geek out in the performance section. They give you all sorts of graphs, and then you could do like a pie chart report, and you could actually see what your weaknesses are. Whatever is in red, that's your weakness. What does it mean? Okay, I'm weak in area and volume. Whoops, sorry. I'm weak in area and volume. I'm going to go to my textbook by Nelson Fu, preferably, and I'm going to find a chapter that is talking about geometry, I'm assuming. Geometry, angles, absolute value. Let me see. Lines. So that's kind of what makes it difficult because you can't really, map it exactly. Ooh, quadratic, synthetic, complex. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be in angles, circles, trig, triangles. It's probably going to be in triangles. Statistics, volume. Oh, here we go. Volume. Sorry, it took me so long. It's this one, 28 volume, page number 248. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to page 248 in the fabulous book by Nelson Fu. Hi, Nelson. I'm promoting your book for free. And then I'm going to study all of this. Then Nelson also provides a set of questions, and what I like about his book is that these questions are very similar to the questions that you are going to see on the SAT. And Nelson also does a really good job at creating questions. So then, and then they go in escalation of difficulty. So usually, if you feel like you know the topic, and you're like, yeah, I know trig, just open the chapter on trig and go to the test and try to solve the last 2 questions. And if you can, then you really know the topic. And if you can't, maybe you should study up on your trig and should study up on your Nelson Fu book. So this is your step 2. And the third step is you go to UWorld, and what you can do is now you can create a test. Remember what was weak? Area and volume. So we're going to find, do you see how this says additional topics? We're going to click that, and then it automatically highlights all the other topics that are in additional topics in math. Circle theorems, complex numbers, equations on circles, line angles. We're going to unclick that, and we're going to create a targeted test on this topic. Another thing that I want you to know about some settings here, there's a tutor mode, and there's a timed mode. There's all questions, there's calculator, no calculator. This is my absolute favorite mode because I think that it does feel like working with a tutor. Why do I say this, right? As a tutor, I think that my main job is not to teach the material to the kid because they all get these books and they're all smart kids with 4.0 or 3.8 GPAs and really challenging, rigorous curriculum at school. They can learn all of these things by themselves. My job is to give immediate feedback as the student is solving questions. Perhaps they're taking the longest route possible. Perhaps they are not seeing the type of question this is. So my job is to give immediate feedback. So what they do is they have kind of recreated this scenario, and you can go into tutor mode. What tutor mode means is that you can solve the question and then you can press submit and it would show you whether you answered correctly or incorrectly. But not only that, a whole menu with a really detailed and really clever explanation shows up underneath. So let me just demonstrate that. We don't have a lot of questions. This number means that's how many questions are available. We don't have a lot of questions on area and volume, only 2, because it is in one of those additional topics in math. That means the probability of this showing up is not very high. So let's see. Well, let's do some trig. Why not? Since we touched on trig. So now the total is 2 plus 14. We can do 16 questions, but I'm not going to do 16 questions with you right now. Let's just do 5. Your tests can be really short. All right, so this is a calculator not permitted, and this gives us a triangle, and it asks, in triangle above, what is the length of segment AB? So they're asking us for what this segment is. Well, the thought that comes to mind right away is special triangles. 45, 45, 90, 30, 60, 90. You know what's really cool? They're actually giving you the formulas right here, the reference sheet. You know how on the SAT, in the front of the math section, you're given those? So you actually have these triangles right here. So what we have is this line is 6. So therefore, if this is 60, then this is going to be 30. So this one is going to be 3 root 3. This is this side right here. And then that means this side is going to be that. And that means AB is going to be, so that is times root 2. So let's see what our answer choices are looking. So if we had this is 3 root 3, and if these are 3 root 3, oh god, I do really have to solve this without a calculator? Fine. So 3 root 3 times root 2. Interesting. Let me just quickly, I have to get a calculator, or at least maybe a piece of paper to solve this. Root 3 times root 2 equals 3 root 6, something like that. So it's 3 root 3 times root 2, and I press submit, and thank God I answered correctly. And this is the explanation because we're doing it in tutor mode. The explanation is below. It's a very detailed, very clever explanation. And now I'm going to show you my favorite thing. Well, here they're actually telling you why choices A, B, and C were incorrect. And now things to remember. Oh my God, I absolutely love it. The two types of special triangles, 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90, and each has a special ratio among its side lengths. And then they're giving you a visual and they're giving you the lengths. You know what I do? Even if I solved this question correctly, but I find this super helpful, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a screenshot out of it. I know that perhaps UWorld is not going to get super happy about me taking a screenshot out of it, but I am not using it for the purpose of selling these questions or redistributing these questions. This is just for my studying purposes, and this is something that is going to go on here. So I just want to quickly show you guys how I create kind of error logs for myself, and this is what I would do. I know that I showed you an example of an existing error log. I actually shared an error log from one of my students in the video. I'm going to link that video up there, but I'm just going to show you how to create a brand new error log. How does that sound? I think that sounds good. All right, so we are going to just populate your Google Doc with blank slides, and you can just duplicate, and now you highlight 2, and then you duplicate those, and then you highlight 4, and then you duplicate those, and then you highlight, or you can just keep duplicating these. So now we have plenty of slides, and then the first one actually has some formatting on it, so we're just going to get rid of the first slide. So now we have this, and what you're going to do, you're going to drag, error log SAT, something like that. I can't spell. Error log SAT. Now, you're going to go to your screenshots. This is the screenshot from today. And you're just going to drag it. And this is going to sit here. Well, this is kind of a rule. This is not an error, but it wouldn't hurt for you to know this. I know many of you can say, well, Katya, why do I need to remember this? Because it's right here, it's in the front. But if you don't know, or maybe you haven't practiced, or you didn't have enough experience with special triangles, this thought to use special triangles is not even going to cross your mind. So use these, know that they're there, but remember to use them. Okay, so let's just go to the next problem. I'm going to show you a few tricks with UWorld. So we press next, we go to the next one. So here, this is a this is a trig problem. A right triangle ABC is shown above. Which of the following expressions is equal to n over m? Well, this is going to be, it's either a sine of A or a cosine of B, and we don't have, it's definitely not tan. Do you guys see this? If you press cross, then these answer choices, they become kind of deactivated. Love it. So cosine B seems like a good option because it's adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine B, submit. Well, do you look at these? If you look at these percentages, it says that 98% of kids answered this question correctly. Well, that means that this question is probably pretty easy. This thing, the timer, well, I wouldn't spend a lot of time or attention on this because some kids may skip this question, may not even answer it because they would think, oh, that's too easy. Why would I even bother or pay attention? So this is not a big indicator, but this is kind of interesting. My kids, when I say my kids, doesn't mean my biological kids. I don't have kids yet. But the kids that I work with always find that the number is quite high. Consider the fact that a bunch of tutors and really smart people are also taking these just for fun. You realize that I take SAT and ACT because I geek out on this stuff. I love it. So don't be scared by these numbers. UWorld is a very specific type of software. It's not for everybody, so don't you worry. Next, we're going to go to the next screen. Well, this is a typical greet-in grid in, and I'm really happy that UWorld is trying to replicate a grid-in experience, which makes it super fun. In the figure above, angles PSQ and PSR are right angles. Okay, good. And what is the length of QR? All right, so what we know is that this part of QR is 6, and this is an unknown thing. Huh. Oh, okay, interesting. So this is a 90-degree angle. Can we find SP? Of course we can. So, oh, by the way, we can use a calculator. Let me just reach. Sorry. I'm going to reach for my favorite friend, my calculator. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, oh, I actually know that this is 8 because Pythagorean triples. You know how there is a 3, 4, 5 triangle? So its bigger sister is 6, 8, 10 triangle. So we immediately know that PS is 8. So this is 8 and this is 17. And this is a right triangle. Again, Pythagorean theorem. But we also know another Pythagorean triple, which is 8, 15, 17. 8, 15, 17. So this is 15. 15 plus 6 is usually 21. So let's just grid that in. 2 and 1 and press submit. And we got it. And unfortunately, only 52% answered correctly. Well, that's upsetting. Why? Okay. I may know why. I may need to teach you guys something. So let's quickly learn Pythagorean triples. This is totally not planned. This is just like a flashcard that I use for my students. And it was just, you know, we kind of hit it back there. So let me just teach this to you in case you don't know Pythagorean triples. So there are 5 sets of numbers that you need to memorize. 5, that's right. So these are pretty easy because it's 3, 4, 5. If you listen to your math teacher, most of you know the 3, 4, 5 triangle, right? If 2 sides are 3 and 4, the hypotenuse is going to equal 5. So its bigger sister is 6, 8, 10. Just everything is doubled. Then these two, you kind of need to imprint into your mind. So check this out. The sequences begin with odd numbers. This one begins with 5, and this one begins with a 7. But what's fun about them is that then they end with numbers that are really close to each other. So it's 12, 13, 24, 25. Just remember them. 5, 12, 13, 7, 24, 25. Got it? So now we have 4 Pythagorean triples. Now the last one. This one I put a heart over because I like to convert things to and make them things that I have an easier time to remember. So I like to think of this as a date, as if it's August 15, 2017. Pretend that it's August 15, 2017. Even like maybe reflect back on what happened in your life back on August 15, 2017. You know, make it like your grandmother's birthday or your best friend's birthday, or maybe you met someone really significant, and that's why I have a heart. So these are your Pythagorean triples. Let's just do this real quick. Do you remember them? Try to retrieve them from memory. What's the first one? 3, 4, 5. Then its bigger sister, which is 6, 8, 10. And then we had 2 really cool ones. They began with a 5 and a 7. So it was 5, 12, 13. It was 7, 24, 25. And then a big date, which was August 15, 2017. So it's 8, 15, 17. Hope this helps you guys. All right, back to the main topic, the UWorld. All right, so do you see how they give you a fantastic explanation? It's very detailed. Sometimes there is an explanation, there's an alternative explanation. And then obviously things to remember. Pythagorean states that this and there are blah, blah. All right, next, our last question, guys. In triangle PQR, the measure of angle Q is 90. If tan P is 5/12, what is the value of tan R? Do you guys know the answer? Do you remember how tangents work? So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So if a tan P is 5/12, that means that, what type of triangle is it? Do you guys know? It's a 5, 12, 13 triangle. Any ideas? So we're going to go with 12/5. P, Q, R. And so this is bam bam, so this is going to be 5, this is going to be 12, and this one's going to be 12/5. Yeah. So we're going to go with 12/5. We're going to press submit, and 80% of you guys got it. It's super easy, but again, there's this thing. Okay, so let me just create one more test for you, and this is a little bit of data. And there are settings here. You can play around with the settings. Oh, by the way, you have this setting of add to flashcard, and I have this activated. Show hints and answer elimination is also activated on my end. Somehow I cannot get rid of it. Look at that. All right, so let's go and do another one. One more feature that I really love, other than the hint, which I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, so let's say I didn't know how to solve this one. They are actually providing you a hint. And this is this light bulb. You know, try not to use it, but if you are stuck and you need a hint, it's just like having a tutor, I'm telling you guys. Because if my student is a little bit confused or taking longer than they should, I'm going to give them a little hint to help them along the way, but then I'm going to ask them to resolve a similar problem without any hints involved. And if you are doing it on your phone, let's say you have an app, which I do, what's amazing is that the calculator is built in. So if you're traveling, let's say you're on a spring break and you don't really want to bring this beast with you because it's so heavy. It's amazing. I love you, but you're heavy. You can just use this. They have a fantastic, nothing gets activated because I'm already done with this. So, okay. How do I end test? Next. Okay, there you go. I ended the test. Did I not solve one of the problems? It felt like we didn't do 5 problems that we felt. Okay, great. I guess I just skipped. And an angle measuring 540 has a radiant measure of A times pi, where A is a constant. What is the value of A? So here they're actually testing my ability to transfer radians to degrees and degrees back into radians. Well, easy breezy, you know. We just quickly set up a proportion. Let me just use this. First and foremost, I know that 360 is 2 radians, but we're just going to do 540 over 360 equals x over 2 pi. Now, we can maybe cross some things out. How about if we divide both the top and the bottom by 60? We get 9 on top and we get 6 on the bottom. So we get 9/6, or we get 3/2 equals x 2 pi. So it's 6 pi equals 2x. X equals 3 pi. So I know that A is 3. Submit. We got it correctly. Oh, remember how I was telling you about the alternative method? Alternate method. It's probably a smarter way to say that. And so you have 2 methods to convert. And then again, things to remember, my favorite things. So let's say you got confused on this problem and you don't quite remember, and maybe the word radiant, maybe you're taking the test quite early and you didn't have geometry yet, and maybe you've never heard about radiant, and you're like, oh, I know it kind of makes sense, but I'm a little bit scared. What you do is you take a screenshot of this problem, and you already know you're going to log this into your error log. Another screenshot. And there you go. Now, what you can do is you can use Boomerang, an email service, to email these questions to yourself, and you can review them in 4 days to refresh your memory. But basically, just using your UWorld on a daily basis on your phone. This is what the app looks like. It's the exact same kind of deal. Let me see if I can log in. Probably not. I need to put in my password. Yep, there you go. So there are your question banks, there are practice tests, and yep, it's the exact same interface. You can go ahead and do that on your phone. It's amazing that you can have all of this beautiful information in your phone. It's great. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of UWorld. Thoroughly go through their math problems. Another thing that I want to say is that if you guys are not shooting for a very high score, so let's say you're looking to do, I don't know, maybe 1400, 1350, you shouldn't be going after hard questions. Do you see how it's tutor mode and timed mode? There's low, medium, and high difficulty. So try not to go for the high difficulty if you're not someone who's going after the top score and if you are pressed for time, because most of your points are going to live in here. So if you're fine with like 650, 630 on math, just focus here. But if you want to get all 800, focus all the way and more. So this is how I use UWorld. Personally, for me, I absolutely love their writing, and I do writing. And writing is a little bit different because you just pick passages and you just solve passages. But you guys know how I solve reading. If you haven't seen that crazy video where I murder the passage with my pencil, that's why reading is a little bit tough for me. And you know, I had dyslexia stories, and I'm just the type of reader who appreciates highlighting, underlining, and I call it murdering the passage before solving it. So therefore, I don't really take advantage of the reading on UWorld, but I've seen the passages, and I find that they're very structured, and they also did discover the secret to the SAT. They probably read, the creators of this question bank probably read the black book, that it's either a restatement or a demonstration. So it follows the design of the test. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to use UWorld, and hope that helps you guys. Let me know when you're taking the test. Let me know what exactly you want my help with. Are there any math topics? Are there any reading, writing, grammar, or anything else you want me to create you a little memory palace on? Before I say goodbye, I forgot. I'm going to link a link to, I think it's 154 free UWorld questions. Again, I'm not in relationship with them. They're not paying me money. It's just the link that is currently available on Reddit. And this is, anybody can get, you're not getting any privilege, but if you don't know about UWorld, you've never heard of them, so that's the code. And alternatively, I just really encourage you to buy it and just talk your parents into buying this for you, or maybe, you know, pick up babysitting or something, and in a couple of hours you'll make enough money to buy the membership. All right, guys. Happy testing, and I'll see you in the next video.